When you talk about the greatest fighter, it's easy to mention Fedor Emilianenko, a man whose dominance and aura earned a cult following among legions of fans. So when the Russian fighter signed for Strikeforce in 2009, the MMA world took notice. Fedor's run with the promotion was intended to finally show his skills to the American masses. What followed was an ill-fated tenure that raised more questions than answers. Welcome to the INC, and this is the story of Fedor Emilianenko in Strikeforce. For nearly a decade, Fedor Emilianenko ruled atop of MMA's heavyweight division. Fedor first came to prominence competing in Pride Fighting Championships, winning the company's heavyweight championship and defeating a who's who of the division's best, including wins over Antonio Nogueira, Mirko Krokop, and former UFC champions Mark Coleman and Kevin Randleman. Such was Fedor's aura at the time that several of the sport's biggest stars were willing to leave the UFC for the chance to face him. Tim Sylvia cited the Russian as a reason for requesting his release in 2008, while heavyweight champion Randy Couture considered giving up his belt when rumors of a match with the last emperor began to circulate. After Pride's closure, Fedor competed for the short-lived Affliction Entertainment, claiming further UFC scalps in Tim Sylvia and Andrei Arlovsky. And by 2009, the man with the pound-for-pound best sweater game in MMA had amassed 31 wins and no legitimate losses in his career. After Affliction went defunct due to financial issues, Fedor became the sport's most courted free agent, and rumors of a deal between himself and the UFC soon began to circulate, with Dana White describing his attempts to sign the Russian as his personal obsession. In July 2009, Fedor met with White and UFC owner Lorenzo Fertitta to discuss a contract with the promotion. According to reports, Fedor was offered a contract worth just under $2 million per fight, with incentives based on pay-per-view revenues for fights he headlined, the first being a dream match against newly crowned heavyweight champion Brock Lesnar. After hours of negotiations, Fedor's manager Vadim Finkelstein turned down the deal, stating the UFC's refusal to work with Russian promotion M1 Global as a key factor in negotiations falling through, something White would long hold against Fedor in the years following the meeting.
In the fight business and in life, you get these things shift and things happen and build, and you get an opportunity to do this mega fight, and everything was in line for Fedor and Brock to fight. It was right there, and you don't laugh at those moments. You fucking seize them. You take it. He didn't take it. They thought they were too cool, too slick, and too fucking funny. And like I said before, they're not laughing now.
Just 2 weeks after the UFC negotiations fell through, Fedor surprised many by agreeing to a 4-fight deal with the California-based promotion Strikeforce. Holding its first event in 2006, Strikeforce was an upstart promotion which earned a cult following due to its exciting matches and promising local talent, but had long lacked a marquee signing to legitimize the promotion as a threat to the UFC. In the short term, the deal helped all parties. Fedor was given the mainstream pedestal his talent had long deserved, while Strikeforce finally secured the megastar to take the promotion to the next level, particularly as Fedor's signing convinced CBS to return to the sport 1 year after its failed venture with Elite XC. Fedor's company bout came on November 7, 2009 against heavyweight prospect Brett Rogers. Although Rogers entered the fight unbeaten, including a 22-second knockout of Andrei Arlovsky, many felt he lacked the skill set to pose any threat to Fedor, with the Russian entering the match as a -600 favorite. Rogers, however, was undaunted by his opponent, breaking Fedor's nose in a competitive first round that saw the former tire changer land some heavy ground and pound. While Fedor did enough to win the first round, his performance wasn't the one-sided affair many expected. But just as fans started to think an upset was on the cards, the last emperor showed his class.
Former project kid from the Cabrini Green. Emilianenko hit him with a right hand and it's over.
While not his greatest performance, Fedor's debut was a success. TV ratings and gate numbers surpassed anything previously achieved by Strikeforce, and plans were put in place for a match with heavyweight champion Alistair Overeem. Fedor, however, was less than convinced. Years of wear and tear were starting to take their toll, with the Russian later admitting he considered retirement in the weeks after the Rogers fight. Fedor, however, was convinced to return to action, and in June 2010 took on 6-1 underdog Fabricio Werdum, who was making his third appearance for Strikeforce after being cut by the UFC 2 years earlier. Fedor appeared in control early, dropping Verdum with a flurry of punches before jumping into his guard in a bid to stop the fight. Verdum, however, was feigning how badly he was hurt, catching Fedor in a triangle and leaving the Russian with no chance to escape. After 32 wins over some of the sport's all-time greats, the legendary Fedor, the last emperor, the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time, was forced to submit with his head in a Brazilian sweaty crotch. The shock results split the MMA community. Fedor fans dismissed the loss as a rare mistake from a fighter reaching the end of his career, while detractors used it as evidence Fedor couldn't compete with the caliber of competition in America. The biggest loser, however, was Strikeforce. Fedor's loss ruined the company's planned title bout with Overeem, and bosses were left scrambling for a way to renew the interest in their fallen star. The solution came in January 2011 when Strikeforce announced an 8-man heavyweight tournament taking place over the course of the year, with Fedor agreeing to a lucrative 4-fight contract allowing him to take part in the contest. Due to his experience in tournaments competing with pride, Fedor entered the contest as the bookmaker's favorite, and a match with fellow Verdum victim Bigfoot Silva was seen as an easy path to the semifinal. If Fedor's loss to Verdum was written off as a fluke, the Bigfoot fight offered no such luxury. The Brazilian took control at the start of the second round, landing several minutes of ground and pound against his undersized opponent, before doctors brought an end to the fight before the start of the third round. Fedor was defeated yet again, and his reputation as the world's top heavyweight was effectively over. Fedor's struggles inside the cage were soon having an impact outside of it as well. Fedor's contract, added with the termination of their CBS deal, led Strikeforce's owners to reconsider their role in the sport. Short-term investment was needed if the company wanted to stay afloat. Cue Mr. White.
Why did you actually make this deal? Why did you go out and purchase Strikeforce?
Well, as we continue to grow and expand into all these other countries, one of the things that I keep telling you every time we talk is we need more fights. We need more fights. And let's face the facts. Strikeforce is a brand that fans have come to like. That they do have a following. People enjoy the fights that they're putting on, and it made sense to us.
Now, under the eye of the man he jilted 2 years earlier, Fedor faced a must-win encounter against former Pride champion and heavyweight newcomer Dan Henderson, with Bellator boss Scott Coker emphasizing the fight's importance for the fallen Russian.
I think he understands the ramifications of what happens here. The outcome of this fight is going to be pivotal for his career. It doesn't hurt his legacy, one bit, I think, if he loses or wins, because he's already a legend in the sport. But I think this is a pivotal moment in the history of Fedor, and I think you're going to see an amazing fight.
With his reputation on the line, Fedor started aggressively, with he and Henderson trading wild overhands in a frantic opening exchange. Fedor and Henderson traded blows in a scintillating opening round, with both fully aware of one proper punch being capable of ending it all. The premonition was proven true, although not in the way you expect.
Beautiful escape by Hendo! Wow! Henderson scrambling! Whoa! Unbelievable! They stop it! A
third loss, this time to a natural middleweight, was the final blow for Fedor's legacy in the US. Murmurs of retirement at the start of his tenure had turned into pleas from even his most ardent of fans, while White was happy to turn the knife further when asked about the Russian the week following the fight.
So he just lost his third straight in a row. Is he done in Strikeforce?
I don't know. You guys want to see him fight again? Should I get him a welterweight to fight next? Would that excite you guys? Maybe I'll get a good welterweight in Strikeforce to fight him now.
I take that as a yes.
While Fedor was never officially cut by Strikeforce, he never again set foot in the promotion, fighting 3 times in Japan and Russia before calling time on his career at the age of 35. Strikeforce, meanwhile, existed as a zombie promotion for the rest of its tenure, before its roster merged with the UFC and the company formally dissolved in 2013. Several factors played a role in Fedor's run, his lack of experience fighting in a cage and years of nagging injuries being the most severe, but they culminated to create a tenure that critics hold against him to this day. Fedor would eventually reverse his retirement and take another crack at America with Bellator. But that, my friends, is for another story. This is the INC. Support the channel on Patreon.